Hello and welcome back to IMAGI-NATION TV as we continue to explore the theme of kindness this week. We've had a great week so far. On Monday, we had our thinkers. Yesterday, we had our youngsters and also celebrated our 50th episode. And today, we have our designers panel with a great lineup for later on today. I have a co-host with me today, Bobby Cunningham. Bobby, how are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling really good, Sharice. Thanks for having us today. Really excited about the designer show today.
That's great. I'm glad to have you here with me, backing me up today. It's great to have you on. And I heard that you'll be hosting in a couple of weeks. How great's that?
If you say it's great, I think it's great.
That's great. Who else do we have on the show with us today, Bobby?
We have Ilana on the show today. We have Josh. Just going through my list. We have Kay on the show today, and we have our live audience. So should be a good day today.
That is amazing. And we also have a student co-host with us, Jamie. Jamie, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good about this. Seems like it's going to be a fun day.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day. And what's one thing that you want to get out of today?
Just be able to have more confidence in myself and being able to go onto these calls and showing my leadership skills in a way.
Cool. That sounds great. I'm sure we can do that. And just quickly, what does kindness mean to you?
Kindness means being able to show people with respect and just giving them what they deserve without making everyone feel better about themselves. Yeah.
Awesome. That's what I like to hear. Thank you for that. We'll be flicking back to these two towards the end as we're doing our thinkers panel. We are going to, designers panel. We're going to step into our 60-second principal challenge with Josh Baker. Josh, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, thanks, Therese.
Thank you for being here. You're the assistant principal at Oberon. How do I say that?
Yeah,
Oberon.
Hi. Yep, down in Geelong.
And how's it been being back at school?
Yeah, it's good having a kid back. We've been here the whole time, but it's great to have some students back in the building. Definitely with some more energy, which is nice.
That's great. Hey, we're going to jump into our 60-second challenge. We've got 60 seconds on the clock and we'll jump into it. What do you consider your greatest achievement?
Oh, probably my 3 kids, definitely my greatest achievement for sure.
On what occasion do you value rebelliousness?
Oh, rebelliousness. Probably when people are being brave to take some risk, I guess, in a good way, not in a bad way.
What's your secret power?
My secret power, I'd have to say it's being able to see if kids are on phones in classes. The kids would say that definitely can pick a phone out from a long way out.
That's a great power to have. What's the bravest goal you've ever set yourself?
The bravest goal is probably to run a marathon. So that was a good goal.
What's the best question you've ever been asked?
This one is a pretty good question. So I'd have to say, what is your greatest question is a good question. I'm not sure.
What do you value most in your friends?
Well, in theme with today, kindness, but just understanding, being willing to listen. Yeah, that's a great friendship trait.
And what's your life motto? What's your motto?
Yeah, our school motto is shape your future, go one better. So I'd say my own motto sits around that. Just have a go. If a challenge comes up, a little bit like today, jump in front of it and have a go at it. Yep.
Well, thank you for taking on the 60-second principles challenge today. We really appreciate having you on the show, and for all you do every day in education and educating these kids. We really appreciate it. So thank you.
Thanks, Charisse.
We are going to quickly jump into our This Hoodie Pays Rent video, and then we'll be back with another guest. We have some comments quickly coming in from the YouTube line. Parul saying, "Ooh, Charisse and Bobby, that's an explosive combo and a great panel ahead, including one of my favorite humans, Ilana." Gemma saying, "Geelong represent." Jess Daniel saying, "Yeah, Jamie." And Lunatune saying, "Young leaders like Jamie leading us into bravery." So great comments coming in there. We've got Luke Daly with us, who is our hoodie connector. Luke, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling all right. Thanks for having me.
And where are you joining us from today?
I am coming to you from Los Angeles, California.
Awesome. That's really great. Hey, why did you sign up to be a hoodie connector?
Well, my older brother told me about it. He lives in Australia, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, this looks cool and looks like a good way to, earn some extra money and support a good cause at the same time. So it's kind of like the perfect thing.
Awesome. And what's been your your system of selling hoodies at the moment? How have you been selling hoodies? Have you just been going out on the street and saying yo, or like what have you been up to?
Well, can't really go out in the streets at this point in time. LA's a little bit hectic right now. So, but I mean, I have Instagram, so I posted it on Instagram and sent it to a bunch of parents, friends, like big group chats and stuff, tell some of my friends about it and just stuff like that. So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for jumping on board and being a hoodie connector. If you want to get a hoodie, head over to the AIM website and we have all our hoodies there as well. So thank you for joining us today and for signing up to be a hoodie connector.
Of course.
Right, we're going to jump into our next segment, which is our designers panel. We have Kay, Ilana, and Ben with us today. Thank you for joining us on the panel. What we're going to do is just quickly whip around and introduce ourselves. So, Kay, would you like to start and just give us a bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me. I'm Kay. I run Startup Creative, and it's a print publication, podcast, online platform. I do workshops, events, business coaching, and my passion is helping people to turn their passions into viable businesses.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Ben, how are you feeling today?
I'm good. Thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you for being on the show. Would you like to introduce yourself and explain what you kind of do?
Yeah, of course. My name is Ben Briand. I'm a filmmaker and storyteller. I also do writing. I do editing. I do a lot of kind of aspects in the kind of filmmaking process. But I mostly make short films, high-end TV commercials. Not so much music videos. There's not a huge kind of call for those anymore. It's not the 90s, unfortunately. And also working on some long-form feature projects. And I think it'd be fair to say that a lot of the projects that I work on or try and be involved in are ones that are about very kind of grounded, real, relatable, emotional characters that are positioned usually in elevated worlds. So I quite like sort of genre stories, and try and fit that into whatever the medium is that I'm working in.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that with us. And then we also have Ilana on the call. Ilana, how are you going?
Oh, fine, thanks, Charisse. Thank you so much for having me. That sounded very exciting hearing from Ben. I'm not sure I'm quite as exciting as that, but I work as a director, which means that I work with lots of different organisations, big ones and small ones, on the boards, which means that if I'm on the board of them, it means that I help them, provide some advice and counsel and some oversight about what they do and help them be successful and everyone who's in them be successful.
So pretty much like the ultimate mentor at the end of the day.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say that. That's a good aspiration, yeah.
Hey, Ilana, how does kindness kind of play into your role?
Well, it's so important. Just thinking about kindness, I sort of have been really focused on that since I was very, very young, because I think my parents, particularly my father, was a very kind and generous person. So it's very much been part of my life. And I sort of remember when I was a very young lawyer, one of the people I worked for said to me, Ilana, you're just too nice. You're like a cream puff. You're soft and squishy. And I sort of didn't know what to do with that. And I thought, I can either change and harden up or be honest with myself and be kind. And so really I've seen, I suppose, through my pretty long career that you can use kindness as a power and as a strength. And I think that's really important because you absolutely control when you are kind. And so I think it really is a strength. It can assist you really achieve your aspirations in life. Really important value.
Yeah, I think just kindness as a power and a strength is really a great statement, because it really is like there's power in kindness. Kay, same question. How does kindness kind of work in your world, and how important is that for you?
Yeah, I think, similar to Ilana, my parents, mum's watching, hi mum, definitely taught us the power of helping those less fortunate in our lives. And, we grew up volunteering and helping people on the fringes in our community. So I didn't really have a choice to be a kind person. It wasn't, it was embedded in me my whole life and exemplified to me. But my work is, my personal journey came from leaving a job that didn't inspire me and left me pretty close to burnout, actually. And so I transitioned from that to work for myself. And, starting a business and being an entrepreneur means that you get to drive your own life and decide where you want to go and who you want to work with and the projects you want to work on. So I do a lot of business coaching, and often the people that I work with, I guess, have been in that similar boat, where they're feeling fed up or stuck or uninspired in their lives. And I reckon for me, kindness is first step. Is like, I can teach you business skills and help you to make a plan, but listening, empathetically to where people are at and what their struggles in life might be, or where they're feeling stuck in their own lives, and having that compassion and empathy to be able to, you know, tune in to what they're needing and then empower them to take back control of their lives and build something that they're passionate about. So yeah, I think if you're not a kind person, people don't want to take advice from you. So yeah, I guess like a lot of what I do with my Instagram community, my podcast, is listening to people and hearing their stories and helping to share them and yeah, get people on the right path in their life.
Thank you for that. It's come up a couple of times this week, actually, that kindness is also listening to people and really understanding, and then, yeah, being able to use that and then show kindness through what people are saying to you. So thank you for sharing that. Ben, you work in this creative space. So how does imagination and kindness kind of weave into your role?
Yeah, look, kindness becomes involved, I think, you know, in two very different ways. First of all, the way you work with people. For me, you know, my role is involved in what's called pre-production, which is, I guess, the writing of the story and the script and developing the imagination and the ideas and the casting and all these things. Then moves into production, which is the shooting part of it, and then you go into post-production, being the editing. The actual production side of things is incredibly stressful. You know, like just last year, I was standing on the most dangerous road in New Zealand, one of the top 10 most dangerous roads in the world, with a crew of 50 people, you know, and we're chasing to try and get these shots before the sun goes down. And in that sort of situation, you have to take a leadership role. There's two different ways. Quite often there are a lot of leaders and directors in this sort of situation who can be quite unkind. And they're kind of, you know, there's a lot of yelling and there's a lot of screaming and there's a lot of, you know, dictatorship going on. The way that you know, for my job, the role works, yes, you do need to sort of have an ultimate vision and lead people and be decisive. But I've found over the years that I've been doing my job, people are far more responsive to you when you treat them with kindness in their roles, you know. And so working with people in that group, particularly in production under that very kind of difficult situation, you know, I try and hope that kindness is at the forefront. The other way is the kindness comes into the stories themselves that you tell. You know, there are many different stories, and, you know, to me, I think that an act of kindness is something that is going to be an action that leads to an emotional reaction within that person, you know, that helps them grow. And I think Kay touched on this as well, you know, something which can help people become more of their true selves. So when it comes to storytelling, I think it's important to show those stories, to show stories where there is kindness going on between the characters. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have conflict, or there shouldn't be, you know, conflict is the basis of drama, obviously, whether it's a 30-second or 60-second commercial or a 90-minute film. But, you know, at the end of the day, I believe that, you know, storytelling is very much about trying to create empathy in your fellow humans. And I think that is derived from cultivating kindness.
Wow. Yeah. Thank you for sharing all of that. That's really great. I don't even know, like, I'm just trying to understand and process everything that just kind of was said. But yeah, it's just so important, so powerful, and you show empathy and everything through kindness. So thank you so much for sharing that. Bobby, how are you feeling? Do you have any questions?
Look, I'm feeling good about what this panel is saying and how we weaving kindness into everything. Like, it's, you know, it's the makeup of human beings. So, you know, for myself, like, kindness is, you know, how you want to be treated. You know, I'm gonna treat Kay and Ben and Ilana the same way I want to be treated. So yeah, I think, yeah, it's so far so good. Enjoying it.
Well, thank you for jumping on today, Bobby, and being a part of this. Jamie, I know you have a question. What would you like to ask the panel today?
Just like, what was your main inspiration, or like who inspired you to do these things, to get out and be able to make your mark, I guess?
Yeah, we'll start off with Kay.
Yeah, good question, Jamie. I mean, for me, I think it was seeing other people turn their passions into businesses, and the blow up of Instagram, and watching people just live their best lives. And so watching other entrepreneurs and getting to know, the guy who started the coffee shop down the road, and being like, how'd you do it? And watching his passion. And yeah, so reading the stories about Richard Branson was another big one for me. Yeah, Oprah Winfrey is always an inspiration. But I also just love the stories of everyday people as well. And yeah, just like back to that topic of kindness and that what Ben was saying, it's like so much about business and getting anywhere in the world, and having success comes from relationships, right? And you can't get anywhere without a team and other people around you who are supporting you and helping, giving you a hand up, and networking. And the kindest people that I've met are some of the most successful, because we all help each other out. So yeah, I think building a team of people around me who some of my best friends as well.
Ilana, would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm very much the same as Kay. So for me, it has always been about relationships. It's about experiences. And I love change, and I love things that are different, and sort of pushing myself and trying to accomplish different things. So, but at the end of the day, it is all about the people that you work with, and getting energy and drive from them, and seeing what you can achieve together. And that's always been my passion, the thing that I've always aspired to do.
Ben, would you like to answer that question as well?
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. A lot of different things, a few different questions are coming up. But I completely agree with what Ilana was just saying as well, where, I think you get the best out of people when you show kindness to them. And, it's a delicate dance when you're in a leadership position, because, everyone's not always on the same track all the time. And hopefully, you've sort of got the people involved that and it's not always necessarily who's the best person for the job. Sometimes it's looking at who's the right person for the team. A bit of advice that a director when I was younger gave to me was they'd rather get someone involved in the project who was not quite perfect but was enthusiastic about it, rather than getting the absolutely kind of perfect person for the project and who was not going to listen to anyone else. And when you're involved in so many different departments, in my world, I have to deal with the wardrobe department, and deal with the production design department, the art department, and then actors and electricians, and there are many sort of different facets, and you sort of to a certain extent have to be able to adapt and shift to kind of adjust your tone and your language and your vernacular. Sometimes the way you deal with an actor is completely different than the way that you deal with the electricians and the lighting department, obviously. And so, I think that this is where empathy and kindness come back into it as well. It's the ability to try and read people, and quite often the best way to read people, to circle back on what we were talking about earlier, is to listen to them. And at the moment, I actually usually live in LA, like one of our other people on the show. I'm currently in New Zealand because of the COVID-19 crisis, and that's where my wife's family is. But I'm very aware of everything that's going on in America right now, and I'm very interested in the idea of listening to people's stories, because I think people become, especially people who are in leadership roles and are the ones who are somewhat deemed to be authorities or mentors, are quite used to hearing their own voices. So, trying to regulate yourself so that you're in a position in your own job where you can use that listening ability. I think it contributes to a much better result at the end of the day.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Ben. Kay, I'm just going to give it to you. Just throw it off to you.
Yeah, I think Ben nailed it. I'm actually reading this book at the moment called Stealing Fire, which is amazing. But it tells the story of with the Google executives, the two founders of Google, when they were looking for a CEO to take their company to the next level and really claim, I think it was about 10 years ago. Normally they do all of the director, all of the formal hiring system. And they were like, no, if we're going to take this up a notch and really claim the space, we need to do things differently. And I'm a big fan of neuroscience and connection and, with people. So instead of doing the usual meetings, they had like their top 3 and they took them all to Burning Man, the big festival over in America, or they took one guy. And it was all about being able to have fun with people. And, if they could have fun, and then actually from a chemical perspective, that's why I think, going to the pub for a drink or going out for lunch or having that fun time with your mates, having a dance, whatever, it actually fires and wires neuro pathways and chemicals which connects to other people. So yeah, I think Ben nailed it. When you're finding people to work with, looking for people you can have a laugh with, you can connect with, and that's actually something happening in our chemistry and in our brain. And I know for me, anytime I've put people around a table to help me print my magazine and write articles and work on things, we always put on a feast and, have a nice lunch or, go out for a cup of coffee afterwards or whatever it is. And it's just so important to have great relationships with other people. And it'll, whilst it might seem just like a nice, fun thing to do, it's actually building a really strong bond. And when you've got that with people around you, anything is possible.
Thank you for sharing that, Kay. Yeah, relationships are so important, especially, when you've got a team together and you're trying to build something great and big. And so thank you for sharing that. We have a question coming in from the chat line from Katarina. It's a tricky question. I'm going to throw it to you, Ilana. Can you remember the kindest thing you've done for someone, and how did it make you feel?
Wow, that is such a hard question. God, I can remember. I can't remember the kindest thing I've done, but what I've found is that just small acts of kindness, and we talk about them all the time, are the things that are the most meaningful, whether it be, helping someone who has difficulty to check out, pay their bill for the groceries, or helping someone carry their luggage into their house, or picking something up off the pavement that someone's dropped and surprising them with giving it to them. All those things create such joy in people, and then such joy in you. I mean, I think that one of the great things about kindness is that it is a choice and it is a gift. You choose to do it, and you do it voluntarily and with integrity, and you give it to someone else, and that gives them joy. And the ripple effect that's caused by that, can really make an impact on the world. So, long-winded way of answering a simple question.
No, I don't think it was a simple question at all. Ben, did you want to jump in there?
I just wanted to reinforce what Ilana was saying. It's something that I talk to my kids about as well. My son is 5 years old, and sometimes he doesn't understand why he doesn't feel good or why he feels yucky. And we talk about the idea of, if you're feeling that way, if you just see what happens if you go and do something for someone else. If you go and as Ilana said, a very small everyday act, can change your own mood. I think when we can become very self-focused, and our kind of ego can close over, and where we get frustrated with our own sense of self sometimes where we are. But, if you can kind of reverse that, and you can project your mental energy and physical actions onto other people and just helping them, it quite often changes your own sensation and emotions and sort of and makeup within you.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's days when you're feeling low, sometimes it does just help to go out and do something good for someone else. Before we wrap up this amazing panel discussion, we've got Alexander Jackson on the line saying he's learning so much from this conversation. So just know that it's a great chat that we're all having. I want to give you all the opportunity to say a 60-second or less spiel for a 13-year-old somewhere in the world, what's one piece of advice that you would like to give them, Ilana?
I'd like to give them the advice to be kind to themselves. I really think, it's so important. It was interesting hearing Jamie before about what she wanted to get out of the show today and get some confidence. I think if you're kind to yourself, then you can give yourself a huge amount of confidence, and then you can exercise that choice and power of kindness with other people. So be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. I love that. Ben, 60 seconds, 13-year-old self or someone else across the world, what would you give them? What advice would you give them?
Ilana hit a really perfect point about being kind to yourself. As I've gotten older, I think that I've come to realize that, when you're younger and when you're coming out of high school and if you're going through university, you're entering the world and you're trying to create a strong sense of self. You're trying to create a strong sense of identity and who am I and what am I trying to say and what am I doing and where's my position in the world. And there's a saying that I'm quite interested in at the moment and what I've been reading up on a lot, which is, first you have to become somebody before you can become nobody. And the idea of that is essentially then getting to a point where you sort of recede on some of these ideas of needing to necessarily always go out and advocate for your personality and your strong sense of self. What I'm getting to and what I mean by that is that, the learning doesn't stop. I think we have this feeling, I'm somewhat beholden to the 20-year-old version of me, because when I was 20, I decided that I was going to do these things and I was going to make these films and I was going to be like this. And this is exactly what I knew I wanted to do. But things change and they shift. As I've gotten older, I've realized that that's okay, and I'm trying to be kinder to my current self, in that, I don't have to necessarily do what the 20-year-old me decided that I must do, and what does the version of me in my late 30s feel is right for right now. So, trying to be understanding that learning doesn't stop and be kind to yourself in that way.
Yeah, that's a great answer to that question, because I think it's so important to realize as you grow up, you are going to continue to learn and go through different stages of your life and different changes. And I've recently, I guess, moved into a new transition of my life, and I had to really be kind to myself in that moment. So thank you for voicing that and sharing that with us. Kay, 60 seconds. What would you tell your younger self?
You got this, Kay. Like it's gonna be rough, but you can get there. Stick it out. But I think, for me as an entrepreneur now, I wish that I was told that I could, do anything and be anything. And on a lot of levels I was, but this world is unfolding and there's so many opportunities and it's changing, and, you guys are the next generation. So, connect to yourself and what is your passion and what legacy do you want to leave on this world? And, there's endless opportunities, and it is your oyster. So, there's so much inner wisdom inside yourself. Spend some time getting to know yourself and journaling and asking yourself, what am I here for? And what is my passion? And what am I going to do with this life to leave a legacy? And then get out there and chase those dreams, because no one's going to come and give them to you, and no one's handing it to you on a platter. So, connect with what you love and get out there and give it a good hard crack. And one of my favorite quotes is, what you focus on expands. So even when life feels like total shit, if you focus on something positive, that's going to carry you through, and you'll get more and more of that in your life. And surround yourself with good people.
What you focus on expands. I love that. Thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you to our amazing panel today for coming on and sharing your wisdom with everyone. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, thank you all. Jamie, how are you feeling?
Pretty good.
Was it great just being in the audience and being able to see this all unfold?
Yeah, being able to see what they've done to make them who they are today. Just hearing what they have to say about kindness and how they interpret it into their life, and how they use it in their jobs, and just how they just use it in everyday life, I guess.
Yeah, awesome. And Bobby, it's your first time co-hosting. How do you feel?
I feel good. It was a lot of warmth, kindness, and realness from our panel. Like little random acts of kindness is what it's all about, and people, I suppose, need to know that when you do something kind, like it makes you feel good. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily I'll just do this for this person, because like it can help you in your inner being as well. Quick little story: we're in New York. We coming out of Popeye's Chicken, and my 15-year-old at the time, Malachi, sees a homeless man, goes back inside, buys a meal, takes it back out to him. I was like, yeah, like you can't turn your nose up at anyone. Like there's people out there that need you, and it's about you helping your fellow man. So, yep, I appreciate everything this panel said today.
And I appreciate you being on the call, Bobby, and for sharing that story. Kindness is so important. I think we've talked about being kind to ourselves today and being kind to others. And I just encourage, as we continue on this day and this week, that we go out and we do a random act of kindness for someone. So we're going to flick over to Hope's Design Awards, and I thank everyone for being here today with us.
Welcome to this week's Design Awards, and I'm so excited to celebrate kindness with you. The Future Award winner this week is Daniel Kazantsev. Daniel Kazantsev is a Russian teen who invented an automatic sign language interpreter. Go, Daniel, go! The interpreter measures hand movements and converts them into words. He was able to enter an early prototype of his invention into the World Fair of Scientific Achievements and receive lots of interest from NASA. NASA sends rocket ships to space. Wow, Daniel! Daniel worked with the All-Russian Deaf Society to adapt the device to better suit those with hearing impediments. He is working with a financial backer and hopes to develop the device to be portable and pocket-sized for easy use. Amazing work, Daniel, amazing work. It's my pleasure to give you the Future Award this week on Hope's Design Awards. And the Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Dr. Jane Goodall. Dr. Jane Goodall is a world-renowned primatologist and conservationist. She famously transformed scientific knowledge of chimpanzees when she travelled to Tanzania at just 26 years old to live. She lived with them and studied their habits. Goodall's method of study set the scientific community in a stir. Many disapproving of her work. I love a bit of rebelliousness, Jane. But it allowed her to make two important discoveries. The primates make and use tools, and that they have emotional bonds between one another. For 60 years, she has been travelling the world to fight for the protection of chimpanzees and their habitats. She restructured the conversation to support and protect local communities and environments, and continues to work on this mission today. She believes in empowering young people to take the lead in protecting the planet and all who share it. Jane, so do we, and it's our honour to present you this week my award, Hope's Design Awards, for creating a fairer world. Thank you, Dr. Jane Goodall, and thank you everybody for being such fantastic leaders and bringing kindness into the world. That's it from me this week. Keep being kind. It's cool, you know.